smacked you in the face. And hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I thought I would do a little bit of a different video, one that doesn't really require much brain power because it is 9:10 on a Sunday night, and I just want to do something that comes easily to me and just, you know, it's going to be fun. I don't think many people have done it because why would they? So I'm going to be going through every Mariah album and picking one song which is my favourite. So this is going to be like my favourite Mariah Carey album cuts. I'm not allowed to pick a single or a promotional single. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. So her first album introduced her to the world of music, and it was her self-titled album, Mariah Carey. I got this album fairly into my love of Mariah around 2004 or 5, and my mum and dad bought it for me from a record shop in Ely, where I'm from, and it was called Hedgehog Records, and it's now a takeaway as far as I know. So yeah, I love this album so much, and my favourite song on there, I can just pick this one straight away, and it is Prisoner. I love this song so much. It envelops and encapsulates what I love about Mariah. The sassiness, it's a sassy song, it's rappy, it's good to dance to, it's good to belt out, it's got her whistle note in it. I love this song so much. I can't even begin to even verbalize how much I love this song. And I just love how it's, you know, it's, like I said, it's sassy, and she's like, I know you're lying, denying all of your actions, so listen up, because here's my reaction. And then at the end of the song, she just goes off, and she's like, you know, you can't do that. I'm not a doormat. You're just a player. That's not my format. I love this song so much. Her next album was released in 1991, and it is called Emotions. This was the first Mariah album I ever owned, and I got it for my second Christmas in 1995. So yeah. And again, I can pick my favourite song of this album. There are songs that I love, but this song really sticks out. And when I first heard it, because when I was younger, I just stuck with the same song over and over again, as I do now. But now I know every single song. When I first heard this song, I was probably like 10, and I'd had the album for like 8 years, but I'd only just heard the song because I was 10. It goes from one end of the spectrum of Mariah's voice to the other. You know, she starts really low, and then she builds up to this whistle note, which is just glass-shatteringly high, and I love it so much. And I actually rewrote the song to fit my life when I was 14 or 15, and it was about a certain someone which I won't name because this channel isn't going to be a bitchy channel or a sassy channel. It's gonna be sassy because it's me, but it's not going to be a bitchy channel. I'm not going to spill tea and you know diss people on the internet, to quote a Destiny's Child song. That's not who I am. I'll do that in person, so hit me up. So yeah, I rewrote the song to fit another individual. And her next album is Music Box, which is probably her most famous, and it's the one that sold the most. It sold like 30 million copies worldwide, which is amazing. And it doesn't have any skips. I don't really skip that many songs on her older albums, especially her 90s. Like, her 90s albums are the soundtrack of my childhood, and they are irreplaceable to me. It's probably the one that I'm really struggling with to pick a favourite. I have three. I'm gonna do a Mariah collection, like my Mariah collection soon. So my favourite song on Music Box is either Everything Fades Away, which is a European bonus track, amazing song, relate to it slightly, and I've Been Thinking About You. I used to always think that, I don't know who it is at the beginning of the song, but at the beginning of the song, it basically starts with, and I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Mariah's voice and she's just doing like a deep note or whatever, a low note. But it's such a feel-good song. Or Now That I Know, that is a really good song. You know, it starts really slow, and I would have liked to have listened to it for the first time when the album was first released, because I wonder how many people thought that they were getting I wonder how many people thought that they were getting like a ballad, because it starts out quite tinkery on the piano. I think it's a piano. And then it like kind of fades out, and then it smacks you in the face, and it's like dancing and stuff. I love it. My favourite song on the Christmas album, she didn't release that many commercially from the Christmas album, apart from obviously All I Want for Christmas Is You, went to #1 last year, her 19th #1. No other artist has done that. No other solo artist has done that. So, on the Christmas album, Merry Christmas, I would have to pick... It would probably have to be God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Purely for the fact that it's completely her voice. There's no music in it whatsoever. And it's just an incredible song. Her next album is 1995's Daydream, which is another bestseller of hers. And I would say my favourite song from the album is... I was going to say Forever, but that was released. Probably Looking In, only because I am a sucker for a ballad. I love ballads so much, and she is the queen of the ballads. And I just love how raw, and you can really, knowing what we all know now, when I say we, I mean Lambs, Mariah fans, I can't help but get a little tiny bit emotional to the song, because she's singing about always being on the outside looking in, and, you know, people saying that, you know, she's got everything, and she felt like she doesn't. And you can see that was the height and the climax of her abusive relationship with Tommy, and you know, thankfully she got out of it. But definitely Looking In, just because it's raw, and I do kind of relate to it as well. Her next album is 1997's Butterfly album, and I remember getting this album from HMV in Peterborough when I was 10. I could probably tell you when I got every album, possibly, but I'm not. She released a lot of songs from that album, but I would say my favourite song from the album is either the cover she did of the Prince song, The Beautiful Ones. Recently fell in love with that song. And probably Baby Doll, because it's very cleverly written, and, you know, she incorporates her date of birth into it as a time, and it's just a really, really, really good song. And it's a ballad. It tells a story. Rainbow, I got this album when it first came out on cassette. My Uncle Cole got it for me when he was managing a pub. And I remember looking through the liner notes and being like, oh my goodness, she's so pretty. And then, so my favourite song on the album that isn't released is, I'm now like picturing the track listenings, because, yeah. I would say it's, why did she have to release Can't Take That Away From Me? I would say it's either Ex-Girlfriend, because it's a bit of a sassy song, because I love a sassy song, or After Tonight. No. Petals. Petals is such a good song. it's very, it's a heartfelt song. She wrote it about Tommy Mottola's, her ex-husband's children, I believe. And, you know, it is, I relate to the song in my own little way. And, you know, music is very subjective, you know, it's open to interpretation, and that's the wonderful thing about music. And I relate to that song and flip it, you know, on its head and kind of relate to it myself. And, you know, that may sound crazy, but I am. Her next album is a soundtrack, and I'm going to include this because #Justice for Glitter. And my favourite song on the album is, oh, she released Never Too Far. It's either did she release Reflections? It's either, yes, she did. So my favourite song on Glitter is probably Twister, because again, I relate to the song a little bit. And also If We, such a good song. And at the end of the song, every time I listen to that song, I crack up a little tiny bit, because it's dialogue from the film Glitter, such a good film. And it's like,
so don't be getting all freaky on the first date. It's not a date. Yes, it is a date.
I love it so much. If you haven't watched the film, go and watch it, because don't listen to the haters. Yes, I do have my Mariah mug, especially for this video. And I have some tea as well. So the next album is Charm Bracelet, which is her first studio album of the new millennium, and it was released in 2002. My favourite song from the album would have to be I Only Wanted, because I do kind of relate to that song. I relate to a lot of her songs. But it's probably, either Clown. 100%. My favourite song from the Charm Bracelet album is Clown, because it's a sassy song, and I've said previously, I am a sucker for a sassy song. And also, it's relatable. So the next album is probably her biggest album ever, and she probably never will have an album this big in the rest of her career, because it was such a huge album, and it literally blew up. It literally blew up, and it was when I became a lamb during this era, officially became a lamb. And it's when I actually started to follow her music. And I followed her music, you know, I was bought albums for Christmas, and, you know, the odd single and things. But it's when I properly, you know, would spend hours and hours reading about her online. I joined MC UK, like a fan club over here in the UK, obviously. And it's a very pivotal moment, because it was that album, listening to that album, it was kind of like a soundtrack to my life. And I was only 12 at the time, but it was around that time that I was getting bullied at school, and, you know, for being gay. Apparently they thought I was gay, and it's like, little did you know, I am. And it's kind of when, because I was being told or shouted at that, you know, I was gay or whatever, I started to think, am I? Like, you know, it's a whole different video. But that album reminds me of really thinking to myself, like, I'm in a room full of, you know, gay people, and it was because I used to go to fan events, and it was the first time I actually felt like I belonged in a group of people, and it was a strange feeling. So that album is a big part of my life. My favourite song on, she released Fly Like a Bird. So my favourite song on The Emancipation of Mimi is, I'm trying to think of the one she didn't release, because either One and Only, because it's sassy and rappy, and I Wish You Knew, because it's very clever. Like, when I first heard it, I was like, this is a live song. Why have I never seen this live performance? How do I see it? And then I remember one of the Mariah fans on the website, on the message board, was like, no, it's just like studio effects. And I'm like, oh. And then she performed it on her The Adventures of Mimi tour, which is such a good, like, I often just watch that while I'm getting ready or something. Her next album is E=mc², Emancipation equals Mariah Carey to the Second Power, or Part 2. And my favourite song on there is probably Cruise Control, because it's reggae influenced, and you know, it's just very fun. It's a very fun song to sing. And also I Wish You Well, because there are a lot of people in my life, or who are no longer in my life, that I, you know, when it all boils down, I do wish them well. And I know that the only person I can really rely on is me. So my favourite song, probably on E=mc², ultimately, is I Wish You Well, because it is a very relatable song. And I was shocked that she had put, you know, Bible verses in it. And, you know, hearing that song for the first time, I was like, no way! And that's one that I often sit and, you know, I'll be listening to it and I'll be like, Her next album is 2009's Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel. And there are a lot of songs on there that I really enjoy. I like it when singers incorporate like everyday objects into a song. And Mariah does that on More Than Just Friends. And it's kind of rappy and sassy, and I just like it. I really, really do enjoy that song. So More Than Just Friends from Memoirs. Her next album is Merry Christmas to You. She was pregnant when she was recording the album, and those two babies in her belly they did something. They did some magic on her vocal cords, because that album has some of the best vocals I have ever heard in my whole entire life. And my favourite song from Merry Christmas to You, Part 2 of Merry Christmas in 1994, is probably One Child. It's such a beautiful song. I love belting it out. Her next album is one that I'm not too keen on, and it's the one that I say is my least favourite. I like it, but it's my least favourite if I had to pick. And that is Me I Am, Mariah, the Elusive Chanteuse. And when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, this actually is a really good album. But more so, I just don't, it just doesn't gel with me. And it's too, there's a lot of duets on it, and I'm all about Mariah. And when I buy a Mariah album, I want there to be Mariah songs and not loads of like features and rappers and things. So I would say my favourite song on there would have to be Faded, track 2, because I do kind of relate to it. And also Heavenly, No Ways Tired, just because it's a very gospel influenced song, and I love gospel. I love Mariah's gospel songs. And you know, it's another song that I will sit and listen to in bed, and I'm like, So I'm like, yeah, take me to church, Mariah. In fact, maybe I can include a notable mention for this album. So an honourable mention for this album, I'm just going to do an honourable mention, is the title track, which isn't on, I don't think it's on any of the European editions, but it's the title track called Me I Am, Mariah, the Elusive Chanteuse. And she basically talks about the self-portrait, her only self-portrait, which is on the back of the album cover. I will put it somewhere here of the portrait that she did when she was only 3.5. Next album, and her latest album, is Caution. just very, very quickly, I just want to say that I was so impressed with this album that I can't even begin to verbalize it. I I I love Mariah to absolute bits. And I was getting a little bit tired. Not tired. I was hoping for a one-worded album. None of the whole, Me, I Am Mariah, The Elusive Chanteuse, or The Emancipation of Mimi, or, just a one-word title, like going back to her 90s roots, where she had Emotions, Daydream, Butterfly, Rainbow, and Glitter, and Charm Bracelet. And I was like, I just want a one-word title. And I was like, I'd be thinking, oh, what would be some good one-word titles for her? And I thought, she likes butterflies, so Metamorphosis would be a good one, because she's constantly evolving as an artist. So I thought Metamorphosis would be a perfectly good album name. And then she tweeted or something, she made a video of announcing the album name, and it's called Caution. And I'm like, oh, it's one word. And I was like, okay, I really, really hope that she does a really nice artwork for it. Really nice. And I was impressed with it. I was so impressed with the album artwork that I was like, you know what? I actually really like this. And to me, the album cover, I don't know which side it's on. Ow. It's like she's mashed up the debut album, her self-titled album, Mariah Carey, and the Butterfly album, smashed them together and had the Caution cover. It just, the pose, the way her hair's blowing, the resting bitch face is very debut, and the way her hair's blowing is very butterfly. It just, I really like the Caution cover, and I can pick my favourite song like that. And my favourite song is Portrait. So 2 years ago, she announced that she was diagnosed in, I think, 2001 with bipolar disorder. And when I read that, I cried. I honestly broke down in tears, because she'd battled with it for, nearly 20 years. And she was basically bullied into announcing that she had bipolar, when it's something she should have kept private, because it is private. And I just think that, her old manager apparently bullied her into, said, she was worried that her ex-manager was going to, leak that she has bipolar, so she'd rather take control of it and be like, well, called your bluff because I've just done it. That's my theory anyway, and I think that's the actual reason as well. And Portrait, she wrote about bipolar. You can clearly tell that, she's talking about mental health, and I do have I do struggle with my own mental health, and that song really, really speaks to me. And the words she says in that song are like what it is like she wrote it for me. And it sounds crazy, but without her, I would not be here today. And my love for her grows stronger every day. And, she has been the most constant in my life. People have come and gone, and she has always been. I've always had her music, and to me, she is one of the most nicest, and she's indescribable. I love her so much, and she is one of the nicest people I have ever met. And I will put a picture somewhere here of the picture that I had with her in 2005 on March 26th. I met her, I'm looking at it right now. And I just, I'm getting emotional. And I just I I owe her. I am eternally grateful, to quote one of her songs, and I will always love her, and I will always buy her music and support her. Sometimes she does things where I'm like, oh, maybe, you know, don't do that. But for the most part, I'm like, you go! And she's just been inducted in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She's finally recognised for writing 99% of her catalogue. You know, she wrote the whole of her debut album. She wrote the whole of her Emotions album. The whole of not the whole of Rainbow, but she wrote everything she's sung. She has written, bar the covers. And you know, there are some songs that I still think, she covered this, but she wrote it. She's just incredible. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit like, give me a comment. If you're a lamb or you know some Mariah songs, then leave your favourite album cut, so one that isn't released commercially as a single, in the comments. And click that subscribe button to keep in touch, and press the bell for a notification for when I upload. I'm really enjoying doing this. It's a creative outlet. I'm rambling now, so I'm just gonna go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.